Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in. In this video, I'll be showcasing the 1920s era of Argentinian football through the perspective of the soccer card hobby. This is kind of a new series that I'm looking at doing, especially because there seems to be a minimal amount of information out there regarding vintage soccer cards as a whole. And I feel that the 1920s era of Argentinian football and the collectibles from that era are so important to understand and to document, and I feel it's very important to provide context to these amazing artifacts of the past. So looking at some of the background information as to soccer in the 1920s in Argentina, the 1920s was an era in the history of Argentine football where the sport saw immense growth, especially within its borders, and it was also a decade that offered Argentina the opportunity to showcase its football on a global scale. From 1920 to 1926, Argentina had two leagues that ran opposed to one another. The AFA is the official Argentinian Football Association as we know it today, and they ran their own league, which was known as the official Primera División, and they called it the Copa Campeonato. There was a breakaway league, though, that ran simultaneously, and it was run by the Asociación Amateurs de Fútbol, and this was formed by representatives of clubs that had been rejected by the AFA, and these clubs included giants like Independiente, Racing Club, River Plate, etc. So from 1927 onwards, these two organizations eventually merged and formed the Primera División in Argentina as we know it today. The 1920s era of football was dominated by Boca Juniors and Huracán in the AFA League. Meanwhile, the giants of the AAMF Championship were Independiente, River Plate, San Lorenzo, and Racing Club. Huracán and Boca Juniors both were four times champions within the decade. And looking at it from a global perspective, Argentinian football was showcased to the outside world through the iconic 1925 Boca Juniors tour across Europe and through the Argentine appearances in the 1928 Olympics and 1930 World Cup, where they would be runners-up to Uruguay on both occasions. So moving beyond the context of Argentinian football in the 1920s, we'll look at the collectible sets that were released to the public during this time. So there are three major sets that are known for this era of Argentinian football. These three sets document the respective season of the Argentinian Championship and provide the earliest known cards for the iconic players of this era. Based on personal experience, these sets are extremely hard to find in any condition, and it is speculated that this may be due to the warm climate, which may have led to many copies being destroyed or severely damaged, but really there isn't an exact explanation for the rarity of the cards. It may just be that many were just lost throughout the years. The prominent sets for this era are the 1925 to 28 Cigarrillos Dolar, which is photographed on the top right. This one is the Guillermo Stabile from the 1925 Serie 1. On the top left, we can see the 1926 Cigarrillos Plus Ultra, which in this case is the rookie for Luis Monti. And on the bottom, we can find the 1926 Chocolatines Aguila. Each of these sets has a distinct style that attracts a certain type of collector, but in my personal opinion, I find the 1926 Cigarrillos Plus Ultra to be the most visually appealing and the most fun to collect, although it is extremely hard to find even commons for this set. In the next slides, we'll look deeper into each of these sets. The first set that we're going to take a look at is the iconic Cigarrillos Dolar that are so highly sought after by the vintage soccer card community. So these were produced by J.S. Onagoiti. These dollar cards were placed into packets of Cigarrillos Dolar for collectors to obtain and to attempt to complete the set. There were rewards that were offered by cigarette manufacturers for collectors that were able to complete the set. This would involve collectors exchanging cards for rewards, which could offer a possible explanation as to why these cards tend to be very rare. There were different series that were produced at different times, which featured images of players and in-game moments. There are minimal differences between the design of the different series, with the exception of the ones that featured the stunning gold border, which is the Serie 4/5 from 1927 to 1928. Each series also tended to have some sort of theme to the checklist. So Series 1A from 1925 featured just Argentinian players and action scenes from matches in the Argentinian Championship. Series 2A from 1926-27 mainly focused on Argentinian players and scenes, but did also delve into foreign players, in this case Brazilian players such as Arthur Friedenreich, which this set features his true rookie. There's also other cards for Paraguay national team players in that set. Series 3A expands the checklist to feature some Spanish players and clubs. There are numerous cards that feature Ricardo Zamora, especially in terms of action shots of him in net. And there are also cards that feature matches between Argentina and Spain. Series 4A is very similar to Series 1A in the sense that both focus solely on events and players in the Argentinian Championship. And the Series 4/5 with the golden border features a very unique golden trim to the images on the card. This set features a collection of players that were called up to represent Argentina in the 1928 Olympics, and also features images of the Argentine national team in friendlies, Spanish clubs, Spanish players, and the usual Argentinian players and scenes from the domestic championship. In the next slide, we'll take a deeper look into the images and how each of them look. The image on the slide that we can see here, though, is the back of the Cigarrillos Dolar cards, but you must keep in mind that there are variations that are different to this one. If you're more interested in looking at checklists and images, you can check the link in the description, and I'll link the website that I run with information about this set. So on this slide, we can see the Serie 1A and the Serie 2A. So there's a very similar sort of design between these two here. So on this slide we can see the 3A and 4A. The design is very similar. The main difference though between the series once again is just the theme of the checklist and the players and events featured. And this slide features what I find to be the most visually appealing Dolar cards, which is the Series 4/5. In this case, we have pictures of the Series 5, and the one on the left features the template for the players that were sent out to the 1928 Olympics. In this case, you can see it was Natalio Perinetti, and it says Olímpico on the right, which mentions that he's part of the Olympic squad. And then to the right here, we can see the card for Manuel Seoane at Club Independiente, which is just so visually striking with the beautiful gold border. So the next set that we'll look at is the 1926 Cigarrillos Plus Ultra. This set was produced by Picardo and Cia Limited. These cards were introduced or inserted into packs of Plus Ultra cigarettes. From these packs of cigarettes, collectors would look to complete sets of different themes ranging from actors and actresses, politicians, and footballers. The set that featured footballers was Series C. The 1926 Cigarrillos Plus Ultra features photographs of players, matches, and referees. The cards have a distinct black border and features the cleanest photography I've seen of any set during this time. The sets are significantly harder to find than the Cigarrillos Dolar. This may be due to the smaller checklist. The Plus Ultra cards are so rare actually that the number of cards or the total number of cards in the set is completely unknown to this day. It's estimated that the cards range from 1 to 285, but there is no complete checklist out there. The checklist for this set is incredibly strong though, and it features icons such as Monti, Orsi, Stabile, Tesorieri, Perinetti, among others. Cards of these icons in the set can go up to several thousand, but that's not even the hard part. The hard part is even finding these cards in the first place. The image on the slide that I have here is just an image of the back of the cards. This image is found on all of the Series C cards, and the back is consistent across the whole set. And on this slide, I've added some images for you guys to be able to see the beauty of the set. So here we can see the 1926 Cigarrillos Plus Ultra card. On the left, we have Luis Monti, and on the right, we have Juan Prato. As you can see, the photography is absolutely amazing, and the overall design of this set makes the cards so appealing. The one on the right, I actually personally own, and it was very hard to find. These images give an idea of the theme and design of the set, and if you're looking for more information on this set, I've also included a link to my website that includes the incomplete checklist and images of the cards from this specific Plus Ultra set. And the final set that we'll look into is the 1926 Chocolatines Aguila. So these stickers were manufactured by chocolate manufacturer Aguila and were included in chocolate packs for children to trade and collect. The stickers included portrait drawings of the prominent players in the Argentinian championships. The images are pencil-style drawings that feature the player's face, name, and the club that they played for at the time. Currently, there also isn't a known complete checklist for this set, but it is known that there are some icons featured in this set, such as Luis Monti and Raimundo Orsi. If anyone does have a complete checklist or more information on this set, please feel free to comment, and I will look to update the website with any of that information. And that also goes with some of the other sets as well. Any information, I'm always happy to accept it to keep the website up to date. So from personal experience, this set is hard to find, but does appear to be more common than the other two sets. And like the other two sets, there's a link in the description to the article for more information about this set. So now moving beyond looking at the sets specifically, we're going to look at the legendary players from the 1920s era of Argentinian football. So with the rise in Argentinian football from a global perspective in the 1920s came a rise in the superstardom of some of Argentina's best players during this era. The list compiled above features Luis Monti, Raimundo Orsi, Americo Tesorieri, Guillermo Stabile, and Manuel Seoane. There are definitely more legends than the ones that I've listed, but for the sake of this video, we're just going to mention the top players, and we're going to look to include images of some of these legends' most iconic cards in the hobby that most people just aren't aware of just due to the rarity of the cards. Down the road, I would like to make videos on some of the other legends as well, but that really depends on how successful this video is. So the first legend / player we're going to be looking at is Luis Monti. So Luis Monti was an Argentinian-Italian player that played as a defensive midfielder. He was very well known for his incredible defensive ability and stamina. He had an incredible ability to stop counterattacks with ease and also had the technical and playmaking abilities to advance attacks. Monti made a name for himself with San Lorenzo, spending the majority of his career in Argentina, playing for the club and becoming an Argentinian champion on 3 occasions. After losing in the final to Uruguay in the 1930 World Cup, Luis Monti was enticed to join Juventus, where he would go on to win 4 Serie A's as the club captain and establish himself as a club legend at Juventus as well. Luis Monti would go on to play for Italy after being convinced by the Italian government and would go on to win the 1934 World Cup alongside Raimundo Orsi and Meazza. Luis Monti is the only player to have ever played in consecutive World Cup finals for different nations. And to the right of the screen, we can see Luis Monti's rookie card, which is the 1926 Cigarrillos Plus Ultra card of his. And continuing with the theme of Italian-Argentinian footballers, next we're going to be looking at Raimundo Orsi. So Raimundo Orsi was a winger / striker throughout his career. Orsi spent his entire career in Argentina with Independiente, where he would ascend to legendary status. Orsi would become Argentinian champion with Independiente on 3 occasions. He would play for Independiente from 1920 to 1928 before making the move to Juventus in 1928. During his time at Juventus, Orsi would become Serie A champion 5 times, and on 4 of these occasions he was teammates with Luis Monti. Orsi is considered an Independiente and Juventus legend due to his importance in the success of both clubs at the domestic level. On the international level, Orsi played for Argentina from 1924 to 1928, and for Italy from 1929 to 1935. Whilst wearing the Argentinian kit, Orsi won the 1927 Copa America, and whilst wearing the Italian kit, Orsi won the 1934 World Cup alongside Luis Monti. And on the screen to the right, we have the 1925 Cigarrillos Dólar Serie 1A from 1925. This is his true rookie, and it's just a stunning card. It's a beautiful portrait shot, and just extremely difficult to find this card anywhere. And beyond the 1925 Cigarrillos Dolar Serie 1 card, there is also a 1926 Cigarrillos Plus Ultra, which could also be considered a quote-unquote rookie, especially due to the iconic nature of the Plus Ultra set as well. And similar to the other card, it's just a beautiful portrait shot, and the photography is just stunning as always. And now moving from forwards, we're going to be looking at goalkeepers. So Americo Tesorieri was born in La Boca in Buenos Aires and would go on to become one of the first legends of Boca Juniors. He was nicknamed La Gloria. Tesorieri would go on to be Argentina and Boca Juniors' greatest pre-war goalkeeper, and he was always first choice for Argentina during his career. With Argentina, he became a two-times Copa America champion in 1921 and 1925. And with Boca Juniors, he would win the Argentinian championship on 5 different occasions. Tesorieri was also part of the iconic 1925 Boca Juniors team that showcased the class of Argentinian football on their tour across Europe, facing teams in Spain, facing teams in Germany, and just showing the quality of play and how immense it was in Latin America at that time. To the right of the screen, you will see the 1926 Cigarrillos Plus Ultra card for Tesorieri, which is considered one of his rookie cards. Alongside his 1926 Cigarrillos Plus Ultra card, he does also have another rookie, which is from the 1926-27 Cigarrillos Dolar Series 2A. And it's another beautiful portrait shot. This time, I believe it is him in his goalkeeping kit, which is all white. Now going back to looking at attackers, Guillermo Stabile is most well known for being the first Golden Boot at a World Cup tournament after he scored 8 goals in 4 matches at the 1930 World Cup. They eventually did lose to Uruguay in the final, though, and after this appearance, he would never score for the Argentinian national team again. Stabile spent most of his career playing for Huracan, where he would win the national championship twice in 1925 and 1928. To this day, Stabile is known as an Huracan legend, and after his successful World Cup, Stabile made the move to Genova, but unfortunately just didn't find the success he had enjoyed at Huracan, and from Genova he would play a season in Napoli and eventually retire at Red Star Paris. Stabile went on to enter management, where he did go on to become one of Argentina's most successful managers, leading the national team to 6 Copa Americas. Pictured to the left of the screen is Stabile's rookie from the 1925 Cigarrillos Dolar Serie 1A set, which is just a striking card of him in his Huracan kit. Alongside his Dolar rookie, he does also have a card in the 1926 Cigarrillos Plus Ultra set. This card is on a whole other level of rarity, though, and it's just extremely tough to find. But the photography and just the portrait is amazing. And if anyone has like a very beautiful, clear image of this card, I would greatly appreciate them to send the image my way so I can put it onto the website, because the card is just stunning and the eye appeal is amazing. And now moving on to the final legend that we'll be looking at from this era in this video, we'll be looking at Manuel Seoane. So Manuel Seoane was an Argentinian striker who spent the majority of his career at Independiente. He was nicknamed La Chancha due to his stocky build. He was also slightly overweight throughout his career, but what he lacked in speed and agility, he made up for in his ability to read plays and to be in the right place at the right time. He was known as an incredible goal scorer and just had a knack for knowing where to be. Seoane is considered one of the greatest players to ever play for Independiente, and is still the second highest scorer of all time for the club, and he is the 4th highest scorer in Primera División history with 249 goals in 299 league matches. Whilst at Independiente, Seoane won the Argentinian championship twice, and for the Argentinian national team, Seoane won the Copa America on 3 occasions, being the main man up front. To the left of the screen, in terms of his card, we can see the 1926-27 Cigarrillos Dolar Serie 2A card, which is his true rookie card. And beyond the Dolar card from 1926-27, he does have two other very iconic cards. The one to the right is the 1927-28 Serie 5 from the Dolar set. This one's the one with the beautiful gold border. And there's also the 1930-31 Cigarrillos Vencedores, which is just one of the most beautiful, stunning images, just such vivid colors. And, in terms of trying to hunt Argentinian legends or even South American legends in general, looking at the pre-war era, you can't really be picky or choosy. If you even encounter any of these cards, whether it be a rookie or not, you just have to like try to get them because it's better to have one of these than to not have one at all. And that concludes the video for today. So I just want to say thank you for sticking along if you've made it to the end. If you really did enjoy this video, I'd greatly appreciate it if you guys subscribed. It would really help the channel. Also, please make sure to check out ClassicSoccerCards.com. That's the website that I run. And I have over 400 different sets from the vintage world that I've documented. And I'm just looking to be able to provide a resource for people that are entering the hobby and are very interested in the vintage market. I just want to provide them a database and a place where they can find information such as checklists and such. If there's any feedback, I'd like some feedback from you guys. If not, then thanks for watching once again, and feel free to comment. Let me know what your favorite set is, what your favorite player is. If you own one of these cards, I'd greatly appreciate any dialogue. Thank you guys once again.